I'd like to do one more video, if I can, about the legal research project. And I'm just going to walk through as quickly as I can. I'm going to try to be pretty focused. I think I've explained this through other videos. But remember, each of us is going to have our own stuff. I've got to close out a folder here on my stupid game tablet. But here we go with another potential duty of loyalty deal. But this one also, as you can see, talks about product liability. These are not meant to be exclusive. These are things we could talk about. But here, a customer wants you to see if you can modify a product. Well, to me, maybe that's just a lawyer, but that to me immediately triggers product liability problems, because maybe the workaround they want is to get rid of a safety feature, or we want this cheaper, so therefore we've actually got a higher likelihood of breaking. Anyway, you have a friend who has a business that is capable of making these alterations at a much lower price than your own facility, and the line superintendent at your company is resistant to altering the product because of liability concerns related to the secondary market for this product. That's in a long way is what the line superintendent is worried that the resale market, the secondary market, if we had this product then gets resold and it has these workarounds in it, we may actually be facing product liability, because the statute of limitations in product liability tends to favor the injured worker or the injured party. There's a statute of repose. We've had a lot of pushback on product liability, but this is always a pendulum that's kind of like, you made a profit on it. One of the cost of goods sold is that your product may hurt people. Therefore, you should have built enough room in your profit, or be able to always allocate enough money for both insurance purposes and long-term payout purposes, that you're better able to bear this loss. And if your product hurts somebody, there's kind of a risk spreading theory that the manufacturer can turn around and add 3 cents or $2 to their product or whatever and make up the loss, so that we don't have that family negatively impacted by the product. We spread that across the entire economic system. Buried in this, the last sentence, quarterly review is approaching and your numbers are lagging. One of the things we're always going to deal with in business is, I need to get my numbers up. I need to do better. And so maybe if we can work around this one, we can get it going. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Why would you take this to your friend? Now you've put your friend in competition with your own people. That should be a red flag. Is that duty of loyalty? One of the things I see in this problem is that the temptation may be to go around your line superintendent. I know this is a flaw in myself. I sometimes just go do things without consulting my wife. I just go do it. And then, she's not very happy. She feels pretty shunted to the side. Same thing might be true here with the line superintendent. Could we maybe say, hey, buddy, yeah, I understand your concerns. Is there a way we could I can make my pitch, you can make your pitch, and we let a committee decide this? But these are real concerns. So those are a few of the things I'm thinking about on that one. You may find others. It's perfectly good for you to find other stuff. I always like it when other people do this. This one's a little hard to figure out, but it's actually based on a real case. I kind of throw it in because I was shocked when I heard what happened. An office manager took it upon themselves to potentially commit mail fraud, Medicare fraud, and Medicaid fraud in the certification process for an X-ray machine. Physicians Group had really old X-ray machines, and the office manager was kind of concerned that these things are really old, they're not going to pass inspection. Well, there was no real truth to that. They would have passed inspection, they would have been certified, but she decided that the best thing to do was to get a tech, take some films on a different machine, and then they would modify the films themselves through an overlay to make it look like they had been taken on this old machine, then sent these slides in as the certification deal. Might have gotten away with it, but one of her fellow workers kind of ratted her out to somebody at a different hospital. That person, the person who, quote, ratted her out, and I think they were in many ways correct in doing that, but they might have done it internally rather than go to the authorities first. Not that we shouldn't turn our boss in, but maybe it's better to go, hey guys, we're borderline illegal here. We should not be doing this in the first place. We should let's get better systems in place so that we're not committing crimes. Because at least to me, the firm that did this didn't have quite enough checks and balances in place. They should have had a physician in charge of reviewing all of these submissions, having each tech certify under oath this was taken off that machine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And therefore, when we send all this in, it's well documented. We have sent the right one in. This one's kind of weird to me because it ultimately wound up that the office manager got a knock on the door. FBI. FBI starts asking her questions. She sings like a bird. She essentially admitted it all. Not a good way to go. FBI knocks on your door. You ought to give them your name, your address, confirm your identity. What are you asking me about? If what they're asking you about sounds like a felony, you should say, okay, I want to talk to a lawyer. And they may go, what, you're not a suspect. I don't care. My lawyer will determine that. You just keep saying lawyer, lawyer, lawyer. Okay, because if they're talking about a felony in your workplace, chances are you have your fingerprints on this somewhere where you're going to actually, you may be liable for a felony. You know what you do, federal felonies? You do 5 years, you do 10 years in federal prison. Plus, they oftentimes have huge fines. So how was this mail fraud, Medicare fraud, Medicaid fraud? Well, the machines to be certified, in order to get paid under Medicare and Medicaid, you have to use certified machines. And so, while the machine could have been certified, it really wasn't. And so, have you defrauded the government? Yeah, if you've at least given them the argument that you have. Mail fraud, guess what? It was pushed through the mails. Well, that only applies when you send it out of state? No, because mails can go anywhere, it becomes a federal offense. The fact that you mailed it from here to Potosi is irrelevant because it got into a system where it could go interstate. So, this is one of these, if you think you're smarter than your boss, think again. Think about how do I, so none of you would probably be tempted to do this, and it's kind of why I leave it this sketchy, is just to see if anybody thought, well, the best thing to do is I'll fake the machines. What a lot of students do is, what we need to do is buy new machines. These things cost like $200,000 a piece. Just buy new machines. if you can get 40 years out of an X-ray device, or 10 years out of an MRI, you darn sure do, because they cost a lot. So anyway, the idea here was maybe, so buying a new machine is, think about it a little more. That's not a solution. It turned, these old machines, old X-ray machines, in particular, the lenses don't go bad. The image, which has to be of diagnostic quality to any radiologist or any, kind of reasonable radiologist, maybe actually be fairly low. X-ray machines are, what are they mostly used for? Fractures and foreign bodies. They don't show much else. The mammogram is a specialized form of X-ray. They're all kind of different. So I hope I'm not giving you guys all the answers here, but you got to, so again, what you got to do is go in and look up what are the elements of these. Is this a violation? And some of them are elements of, you must have this, 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 and that, or you must have this, 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 or that. Or means if you have any of these, you may be guilty, and means you must have all in order for this to apply. If you modify the facts on that one a little bit, you may get a different result. I'm probably going to just do 3 of these at a time, just so that the videos aren't that long. Here we go. This one's a little different. Your boss invites you to play golf with him at the Bogey Club, where he is a member at the company's expense. Now, every fact is very important, and notice that there are multiple facts in a single sentence. It's not like your boss invites you to play golf, period. With him at the Bogey Club, where he is a member at the company's expense. You see this as an opportunity to pitch the idea that you, Betty, and Saul have been working on. You ask your boss if we can make it a foursome so that we can talk about this great idea together. He says, quote, I really want this to be just you and me. Besides, this club has some exclusive rules, if you know what I mean. Well, let's start at the back. And it says discrimination in employment, employment discrimination. How do we get there? Betty, female. Saul, probably maybe Muslim or Jewish or something like that. We might have religious discrimination, ethnic discrimination. And so there's a lot here. Bogey Club. Well, a lot of private clubs like the Masters, like Augusta National down in Georgia, are permitted to discriminate. It's like, I would love to join a gardening club, but how many women want me in their gardening club? Well, very few. It's, the knitting club. That's discriminatory. So anyway, I can go off on a tangent here, but a lot of people who scream about discrimination do it themselves constantly. And they're kind of unwitting. Well, it's okay. That's different. No, it's not different. It's really the same. Under the law, did you have the intent? Tends to be the big part. Were you deciding, if you're going to have a hiring system that says we're going to favor black or non-Native Americans and women for our STEM positions, we're discriminating. We're discriminating on the basis of gender and race, period. Okay? The admission requirements that we have certain quotas. The Supreme Court has made it pretty clear you can't sit there and exclude white people or exclude Asians because you're discriminating. It's an interesting thing. We were trying to correct old stereotypes, and in a way, we've kind of made it so that there's almost no winning in this, if you will. All right, so let's look at a couple of other things. And that is the boss going to admit that this is what he said? No, what the boss is going to say is, all I said was, I really want this to be just you and me. I was going to take Betty and Saul out separately. I know that Betty likes the art museum. I haven't been to the art museum in a while. I was going to go have lunch with her and see if we could go look at a couple of Renoirs together because that's what she likes. Saul, I wasn't real sure what I was going to do with him, but I was going to do something separate with him. I know he doesn't like golf, and I don't communicate that well with three people. Besides which, what I'm really wanting to do is see which of these people might be my successor. Because one of the things I'm always trying to do is when I get promoted, I need to be able to tell them who I think can take my job. So there's a little key element there for a lot of us that we need to be prepared for the fact that if I get a promotion, somebody else ought to take the job. I hope I'm helping with these. I'm going to stop this one here.